My name is Bob Gill, ARC General Manager for the Southeast Asia region, and I'm based here in Singapore. And today I'm really pleased to have with me Bob Halgren, who is Director of Marketing and Digital Transformation, Asia Pacific at Emerson Automation Solutions. So, a very warm welcome to you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here today.
Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be on the show, and a warm hello to all of you listening and watching.
Okay, good. So I see that you came to Singapore relatively recently in March to take up the position of Director of Marketing and Digital Transformation. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your career history before this move to Singapore?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, overall, I've got about 15 years in process industries. I started my career at a major chemical company. I have a mechanical engineering undergraduate degree and then went to work at a chemical company doing plant construction engineering, really, and a little bit of supply chain. So I had 6 years at that company and then did my master's in business administration and then came to Emerson. So I've been at Emerson for a total of about 9 years. And I think one of the things, as I like to think about my career and where I'm at now, is I've been really fortunate, I think, to have a collection of experiences that really enable me to see things from different perspectives. And so like at Emerson, I've spent about 6 years in product management roles with responsibility for Emerson's Delta V DCS, done some strategic planning, had some experience in lifecycle services, and most recently joined the Asia Pacific team about 6 months ago, as you mentioned. So it's been a really great journey for me so far, and really happy to be here in Asia and to continue, contributing and learning in new and different ways here.
Okay. So as you said, this is your first posting in Asia, and it's been about 6 months now. What's been your impression of the region so far, and especially the opportunities it holds for Emerson?
Yeah, well, it's been exciting so far, right? Just for me to get a chance to talk and learn much more about the region. In my past roles, I'd come to know Asian companies and people really as leaders in innovation and in the speed of adoption of new technologies. And so my time here has really reinforced those impressions. And as an example, in the digital transformation space, many of our end users have some of the most digitally mature organizations in the globe that I've seen, and are really well along in their digital transformation journeys. In the last couple of years, we've had some of the first adopters of our Emerson location awareness and plant web optics augmented reality technologies right here in Asia. So some really leaders, and I feel like that's really emblematic of the innovative culture that's present here. I think what's been new and kind of interesting for me is really the government support for initiatives that might need a little bit of an innovative approach and or innovation to spur new solutions, right? And especially in emerging areas like sustainability and decarbonization. And we've seen this across the region, like China, as an example, in their latest 5-year plan, incorporated strategies on sustainability, decarbonization, and really spurring that more. We see that the same in Singapore, Korea, and other countries across the region. So having that support really accelerates, I think, the solving of those challenges, the deploying of solutions. And in the case of like the sustainability and decarbonization, that's really beneficial for everyone. So like I said, that's been a really nice thing for me to see, and great to have that support to drive those important initiatives.
So it sounds like you're enjoying yourself so far in Singapore and Asia. So.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, I would say that it's a rather interesting and unusual job title you have, Bob, encompassing both marketing and digital transformation. I think it's probably the first time I've seen that in a job title. So perhaps you can give us some background to how that came about and how you combine what seem to be two different roles.
Yeah. Well, it is, I'll say it's got the work of two different jobs, but I'm not afraid to take it on. As we look at many of our customer needs across the region and the industries we serve, we're seeing in a lot of cases, the conversations come back at some point to digital transformation. And I like to think about that as the ability to take data or create it even, turn that data into information, and then get the information to the right place to act on it. And so at Emerson, that really means pulling products from across the portfolio to create those holistic solutions. And so that's on the digital transformation side. On the marketing side, as I have come to be thinking about it, it's not necessarily always about having a flashy video or a post on social media. Those help, right? And we do that, of course. But to me, good marketing means ensuring we're really effectively communicating what we can do for customers and allowing them to really understand that in a complete way. And so, in other words, understanding the full value of the solutions that we can bring to the table, not just from a single product solution, but really from a broader perspective. What are some of the key business problems we can help our customers solve? And so, in that way, the digital transformation part of our business and the marketing side are really actually very interlinked and intertwined, because that's really, they're after the same kind of mission, if you will. And so in that way, really having the two roles combined makes a lot of sense.
Okay, interesting. So delving more into the digital transformation aspect, I think you know as well as I do that digital transformation has become a highly ubiquitous term in the industry over the last few years and can often mean different things to different people. So what does it actually mean at and for Emerson Automation Solutions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I totally agree. Your comment there about it being a pretty universally used word throughout the industry. And honestly, I think a lot of the things that people currently consider to be digital transformation, we've really been doing those for years, if not decades. But we're just kind of capturing them all into the essence of it. And like within Emerson, we even joke that we've been enabling digital transformation since some of the early days of HART, Foundation Field Bus, Delta V, and AMS Device Manager. So it's an older technologies, but enabled, I think, and enhanced with newer technologies. And but all joking aside, I think digital transformation at Emerson really means leveraging all those technologies we have to really deliver improved outcomes in the areas of safety, reliability, energy and emissions, and production. And so usually, as I mentioned before, really that takes and involves taking that data visibility and then adding the right analytics to transform it into actionable insights that can really positively impact the business. And I mean, that sounds like a mouthful and might be complicated, but I don't think it needs to be. And so as I look at our portfolio and think about it, we have a fairly wide range of solutions, which range from anything from a fit-for-purpose solution to like a known problem, all the way to really configurable and custom software platforms that can really tackle really complicated problems and optimize operations. And so just to give a couple examples, maybe a little more depth, a good example of a known solution to a known problem is asset reliability. So we've got wireless vibration sensors that can monitor and then feed that data into our software that can then predict when a piece of rotating equipment is going to fail. Or steam trap monitoring, as an example, to quickly detect steam trap failures as well. And so our reliability solutions and pervasive sensing portfolios are really well positioned with a number of these different types of point solutions, is what I would call them. And then I mentioned more complicated problems that really require a more custom solution. And so those custom solutions or more complicated problems are trying to solve things like optimization, perhaps across multiple assets, multiple trains, units, or even multiple plants. And so in order to do that, we use our PlantWeb Optics platform, which has a number of connectors and analytics capabilities in it, which really allows us to tie everything together and tailor that to the particular application. And just the last thing I'd add with that is our optics platform also has tremendous capabilities in really providing visibility in the different data flows and information flows between the layers and applications. And so that's one of the other big themes we're hearing from our customers is the ability to stitch together and provide one integrated view of what's going on in their plant or in their business And again, that's one where plant web optics can really add a lot of value in terms of the connectivity between layers, the automated workflows, and then persona-based alerts. So it's a pretty versatile and well-rounded portfolio top to bottom.
Okay, so just expanding on this point, and in terms of exploring and realizing the undoubted opportunities there are around digital transformation in Asia Pacific, what are some of the other key aspects of the Emerson approach to this, and of the solution set that you have that you're offering to customers in the region?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question, and one that we've been really able to hone over the last couple of years as we've been working with clients and many clients along the way. And what we find is that the best way to get started in a digital transformation journey is really through a road mapping workshop and process. And we work hand in hand with the customer, the end user, to first outline and focus on their pain points and their business objectives. And once we understand what those are, then we work collaboratively to build a plan where each step builds successively on each other. So I like to think of this as kind of piece by piece by piece and step by step that really add up over time. And so the breadth of our application set really gives us the ability to have these kind of holistic conversations about safety, reliability, energy emissions, and production. And then our portfolio gives us the specific applications and solutions to deliver in all those different areas. And so as we look at this, we can take that step-by-step approach that really delivers tangible results with each step, rather than a big bang kind of thing that's more nebulous and maybe several years in the future and millions of dollars. We really want to deliver value as soon as we can and value over time. And I'd say, the best part, but one of the great parts of it is that because almost all of our wireless sensors utilize the same wireless HART technology, it's really easy for us to scale and flexible as well, meaning we can start with one application and then pivot to another after that. It really doesn't so much matter which application we start with. And so that's important because it allows us to really focus on and deploy the application that matters most to the customer at that point in time. And so in short, in summary, our approach is really to work with our customer to lay out a multi-year path and then build some momentum with a series of wins over time.
Okay, Bobby, that's interesting. So it's obviously a very key area for you, digital transformation. But I wonder, what are some of the other areas where Emerson is helping customers in the region tackle issues and meet objectives? I'm perhaps thinking about things like cybersecurity, sustainability, safety, which are all key issues and challenges for many companies that I know in this region. So what are some of the things that you're doing in those areas?
Yeah. Well, just focusing in on one of those, one really important topic that's been gaining a lot of momentum over the last couple of years is on sustainability and decarbonization. And, we really regard this as our shared responsibility to make a difference. And it's inspiring to consider that the people within the manufacturing and automation space are uniquely positioned to actually affect change and help address the global challenges we're seeing in that area. And so for me, I feel like that really gives a lot of meaning to the work that we collectively do. I mean, we really can and do make a difference for the broader good of the planet here. And so we think at Emerson, we're thinking about sustainability in three different ways. The first is greening of, the second is greening by, and the third greening with. And so maybe a little bit more detail on that, but the greening of really reduces to our efforts to reduce our own energy intensity, whether that is from our office space, our manufacturing, our supply chain. We've committed to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions intensity by 20% by 2028 as compared to 2018. And so with this, we're on our way to make a tangible improvement in the near term with our own footprint. The greening by is all about providing products and expertise and solutions that help our customers lower their carbon and energy footprint. And so, a stat here that about put my jaw on the floor, but according to Energy Star Guide, for energy and plant managers, between 30 to 50% of a plant's operating budget is spent on energy. I mean, that's just amazing, right? And in some of our industries, that's that much of their budget is on energy. And so there's really, I think, a direct link between the opportunity to improve that energy intensity, which leads to improved profit. And then most importantly, or right up there with that profit, is reducing the energy footprint and having the sustainability results. So, we're actually also on top of that seeing several of our manufacturing customers increasingly viewing the sustainability space as a competitive differentiator, meaning that their customers may actually be more inclined to buy a product if they know it has a lower carbon or energy footprint than another similar product, right? That could be gasoline or plastic pellets, chemicals, automotive components, that sort of thing. And so I think for Emerson, right, the great part is that our portfolio is really well suited to address a wide range of those applications already. And we found there are a lot of immediate opportunities to make a difference for existing plants. And then as we think a little bit more broadly, there are some emerging technologies like hydrogen. And so we've got a comprehensive portfolio that's really able to handle everything from production all the way through dispensing and mobility. Hydrogen being, a really emerging and budding industry trend here, where there's a lot of investment in greenfield kind of applications there. We've also collaborated on the first of its kind plastics recycling techniques and an entire program even devoted to emissions monitoring. So the list goes on, but it's always an area we're really passionate about and think it's a great opportunity to drive outcomes that help our customers both improve profit and sustainability at the same time. And the third way we're approaching sustainability is our Greening With initiative. And so this is really where we want to partner with external stakeholders to help lead with policy and solutions. And so as an example, we're working with several universities around the globe and partnering with them to drive innovation for sustainability, decarbonizations, and so forth. And a lot of those actually partnerships are right here in Asia. So, in sum, I think, as I mentioned, sustainability and decarbonization is really, we view it as a collective shared responsibility over the next several decades. And I think it's going to take some innovation and will help inspire what we do in new ways here. So we've got several initiatives, and we're working to help make a difference, and really excited to be a part of the solution.
Okay. I mean, given the extent of your response to that question, I would guess that sustainability and decarbonisation has gone from perhaps, I could say, a very niche area of activity at Emerson before to something that's really front and centre.
Yeah, it's been really amazing how much the momentum has built just over the last maybe year or two on it. I mean, we've always had a commitment to do it, but I think that there's been a little bit of an inflection point out in the industry, as well as, I mean, just ramping up our own efforts here. And so I think like I mentioned, we're at a turning point where it really is gaining some momentum out in the industry. And again, we're happy to help do our part. I think it's so important.
Okay, good. So moving on, Bob, to Emerson Exchange. So the Emerson Global Users Exchange is an event that I've been lucky to attend in the past over in the US, but I see that you're bringing the event to Asia Pacific for the first time.
Yeah, well, the Emerson Exchange has been around for quite a while in the Americas, at least probably 15 or 20 years, at least as far back as I can remember. And came to Europe about 10 years ago. And it's a fantastic event, as you know, on so many different fronts. The opportunity to learn, to connect with peers, to stay up to speed in the industry, share best practices. I mean, the list goes on and on. And we've been having internal ongoing discussions over the last several years to start an Asia Exchange event. But unfortunately, we just weren't ever quite able to make it happen in that in-person forum. And with the pandemic here over the last 18 months, we hosted both the Americas and the EMEA Exchange events in virtual formats. And so when we saw the success of those events, it really gave us the inspiration to formally bring it here to Asia. And I got to share, I think as we've looked at and built out the event over time and all the planning efforts, I mean, the excitement, the passion that I've seen and the team effort that I've seen coming from my Emerson coworkers and our customers, the engagement there, it's really been outstanding. And so it really just tells me this was absolutely the right time to bring Emerson Exchange to Asia.
Okay. And for those delegates who get to attend the event, what kind of things can they expect to experience and learn from Emerson Exchange Asia Pacific? Yeah.
Well, we have over 140 total sessions. That's a monster number to think about preparing for, but it's a lot of fantastic content. And over 40 of those are actually presented and delivered by users themselves. And so with all of that, there's a wide variety of content to explore and discover. Those 40 user presentations-ish, 40-ish, really provide a unique opportunity, I think, to hear about and learn about how other users from across the region and different industries have solved some of their challenges, which I think could provide inspiration for how other users could solve a similar challenge in their plant. Our product roadmaps give the opportunity to hear the latest and greatest on new features that have been recently added or might be released in the near future. We've also retooled our industry discussions a bit so that they're now composed actually of a few industry experts in a panel discussion format. And so with that, it's a great opportunity to hear a bit about the future of the industry, where things might be going, and kind of that next wave of challenges, a little bit more visionary. We're also planning a full channel on sustainability and decarbonization, which, as we've talked about, really is a central piece, I think, to our industries going forward. And there's quite a lot of breadth and depth to this topic. So we've got quite a well-rounded set of presentations on that, and have relevant content across the many industries we served. And also, as I mentioned, the different channels we also have channels for Korean and Japanese native language content. So users in those two regions can log in and see content presented in their native language. It's really, really nice to bring that forward. And so, I think the last part, just worthwhile mentioning, is that much of the content is going to be available for on-demand replay after the event. So if you didn't get a chance to see something, or you want to see something again, it'll be available and there for viewing after the event.
So it sounds it's really around this exchange ethos of learning from your peers in industry. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. And also keeping up to date on what you're doing at Emerson yourselves in terms of product evolutions and new technologies coming out.
I think it's a really, really good way to think about it, right? It's kind of all encompassing, right? Of being able to learn not only from if you're a user, being able to learn from other users, but also being able to learn from Emerson experts, right? On what's new, what's coming out. Also, we even have product demos. So if you were interested in a certain solution or software and hadn't had an opportunity to view it before, this would be a great opportunity just to get a specific product demo on that and see what's possible. So there's really, I'd say, something for everyone. And we also strive to have a great balance between the different industries that we serve. And so, again, it's really an open event that, no matter which segment of the industry you come from, segment of manufacturing you come from, I think you'll find something there that's really relevant and interesting.
And for those who are interested in attending the event, there is a website, I understand, that explains all this.
There is indeed. There's a pretty comprehensive website. I think you can. The URL is long enough. I'm sure we'll be able to include the link somewhere, but if not, obviously can find it pretty easily with a Google search and find more information there on the website and even up to registering for it.
All right, sure, okay. So Bob, it's 6 months into your latest role at Emerson. Can I ask you, what are the sort of things you're excited about and looking forward to contributing to help grow Emerson Automation Solutions business even further in the Asia Pacific region in the months and perhaps years ahead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it actually we've talked about just now, but I feel like we're in a really unique time in our industry where a lot of things are coming together at once. And in terms of increasing technical capabilities of digital transformation, paired with that shared responsibility for sustainability that I talked about before. And so, you know, this inflection point to me feels a touch different than past inflection points. I mean, as I've kind of reflected on some of our previous inflection points in the industry, it's generally been about technology innovation that leads to, say, more profitable operations, safer operations, reduced time to first product, things like that. And you know, don't get me wrong, I mean, those are critical initiatives and goals, and we're going to continue to deliver on those. But I think what's exciting to me and what's different to me, I guess, is that with sustainability and decarbonization, it really ups the game in terms of having that element of an elevated shared purpose, really, for us to collectively go after. And so for me, being in a position where and wearing kind of both the marketing hat and the digital transformation hat, it gives me an opportunity, right, to have a really high degree of collaboration across our organization, and it allows me, I think, to contribute in a number of different ways to sustainability and the different things that we've talked about. So that's been special to me, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to be a part of that over the coming years.
Okay, and hopefully you'll get to perhaps do some travel around the region as well, rather than being constrained to Singapore.
Looking forward to it. My wife and I have a travel list, you know, and looking forward to go seeing our customers as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big region, and there's a lot going on. So it's just unfortunate in the last 18 months that no one's been able to do a lot of traveling and getting around, but hopefully maybe in 2022 that can change.
Yeah, for sure. And in the meantime, I mean, I think it's been interesting as well. We've had it's definitely accelerated the use of technology, right, in new and interesting ways in that regard as well. So a lot of good things, I think, coming out of it. You know, as we look back, we'll see a lot of good things have evolved, you know, in how we do business.
Thank you very much for your time today, Bob.
All right, thanks for having me. It's been great.
As I said, we have been talking to Bob Halgren, Director of Marketing and Digital Transformation, Asia Pacific at Emerson Automation Solutions in Singapore. Do look out for future podcasts from ARC Advisory Group. Thank you very much, and see you again soon.